I think the best thing to do is that at least जब तक अपने बारे में खुद को नहीं बोलते हो, आप अपने आसपास वाले लोगों को ये बताओ कि what is LGBTQ community all about, what is like a different sexual orientation, like you educate them, you make them understand that there is this spheres of life also that exist in the society.
Proportion of the population accepts the LGBTQI community, if I can say so, wholeheartedly. While the main reason for the same being is the societal stigma that exists, and also moreover the lack of conversations in the deeper pockets of India. So since this is a very less explored area, and since we also as a country are moving towards more inclusivity, and also it is the coming out day on October 12th, a conversation on this is a must. So I have with me today Palash Borah, who's been contributing to fight for human rights and be the voice for many individuals in the country. He's also a member for the UN body India. Hi Palash, welcome to India.com.
Thank you so much, because it is really delightful to be here and then talking about coming out issues today and how to handle such issues, because coming out for an LGBTQ individual is something like very integral part, because that's like really shapes up like where an individual would go to and how would he or she proceed with his life ahead. So again, thank you so much for throwing light on this topic, because it was much required.
So, yeah. Right, Palash. So first of all, I would want you to share your personal experience as to how you came out, because that is how people would relate more.
So for me, I belong to a very small town called Digbo in Assam. So my era began when the internet was not that boom, and from being in a very small town and then moving ahead to Delhi for my further studies. This was one counterpart that, which took a lot of change in my life. So when, this is one stage where I endeavored that, okay, from coming from a very small town, and then when you're moving to a big city, then that is when you realize that, okay, you don't even know what it is like what is this LGBTQ community perspective all about. And then when you get to know, okay, there's this whole lot of community, you just had these feelings, but there's a community to it. And then you realize, okay, you belong to this community. And that is where the whole picture starts. I started fighting for human rights when I was just 20 years of age.
So Palash, one thing I would want to know as to when did you really get to know that you're a part of this community?
I think I realized when I was just 19 years old, when internet was just starting up, because broadband just started, and then I started to Google what is male having sex with male, and the term called gay came out, because of course nobody discussed this concept, what is LGBTQ or things like this in our school. There's the biggest deficit that we are having already. But then because internet is where where it all started. Be it the internet was really slow, but yeah, it helped me over the course of years. So if I have to tell about my coming out story, I never came out. Basically, it was, I think, all the expression of work and contribution that I did towards the community, it itself was a coming out phase for me, and it helped me to emote for the person I am today. So I do not have a very strong coming out story or a picture of mine, but yeah, there is this whole aspect of I working towards the betterment of the LGBTQ community, and it itself helped me to get out of the closet, I would say.
So Palash, as you shared your experience about your coming out story, but in India still, kids are little apprehensive and to go to their parents and tell them that they're a part of this community, and because it's still not very widely accepted in India. Still they can go to their friends or colleagues or peers and maybe come out. So what do you suggest that how they can have a conversation with their parents?
I think coming out phase is, again, like I began my conversation, it's an important phase for a person who is from the LGBTQ community, and it also depends on the entire surroundings or the society or the region you belong to. So for me, what I would suggest, if there is this whole suggestion that I have to give back. So I think knowing your own perspective of where you're coming out and what is the whole dialogue that has to go. That is something which is very much foremost important, with whom you're sharing about your own self. It's not in a rush कि आपको आज coming out करना है तो coming out करना है. वो मुझे पता चल गया कि मैं gay हूँ, तो मैं अब जाके सबको बोल देता हूँ कि look, I'm gay, you're running around and screaming it out. It is nowhere you have to run with tags. No offense, but there's nothing that has to be there with text, but look at the situation, like wherever you're comfortable, because not everywhere these things are, like I said, like our country is still learning.
Right.
Like जब हमें खुद को ही एक्सेप्ट करने के लिए इतना टाइम लग जाता है, सो आई एम श्योर लाइक जो आपके फैमिली मेंबर्स होंगे या आपके फ्रेंड्स होंगे, उनको भी शायद से थोड़ा मतलब टाइम लग जाएगा आपको
Time
एक्सेप्ट
लगता
करने
है,
के लिए.
exactly.
हाँ, सो आई थिंक द बेस्ट थिंग टू डू इज दैट एटलीस्ट जब तक अपने बारे में खुद को नहीं बोलते हो, आप अपने आसपास वाले लोगों को ये बताओ कि व्हाट इज एलजीबीटीक्यू कम्युनिटी ऑल अबाउट, व्हाट इज लाइक अ डिफरेंट सेक्सुअल ओरिएंटेशन, लाइक you educate them, you make them understand that there is this spheres of life also that exist in the society. And once you know that this is one person whom you can trust and you can express it out, you go and vent it out to to that person. Because I know that being a human being, it is not possible for any of us to hold something so important within
Right.
yourself. But honestly, take your time, take the spears out and take this step. And one more important thing is that what I feel like as an individual, like now I am like like settled, like grow your career. Sexual orientation and your individuality is of course very important, but your career, like you growing as a individual with your career, is also like very
Very
important.
important.
That is one thing that one should like really take care of. अगर वो हो गया, आपको पता है कि आप मतलब इस पोजीशन पे हो आज, कि आप फिनेंशियली स्ट्रांग हो, आप कैरियर वाइज स्ट्रांग हो, तब आपके लिए मतलब अगर किसी ने आपको एक्सेप्ट भी नहीं किया कि चीज़ें इश्यूज आ जाते हैं, क्योंकि बहुत सारे लोगों के घर पे इश्यूज आते हैं, क्योंकि some families are very much homophobic and they do not accept things accordingly.
Right. Palash, in fact, I wanted to say that, some people consider it as a disease also. We've heard saying
Yeah,
कि
yeah.
इसको बीमारी हो गई and all of that types. So what do you suggest certain things that, that when a person is coming out, they shouldn't feel?
So I think be strong on yourself, that you know that you are trying to like speak something out, which is very important to your life. And when my mom, she asked me like, what is all this? Like I told you, like I didn't go and tell her directly. So then I went into a whole explanation process, and that time I was going through a breakup as well. So very serious relationship, like I broke off with my boyfriend, and then I was in a mental state that I was not prepared. But somewhere or the other, I made up the points, and then I could like explain it to her, and then acceptance came. Do not like like your orientation is good in its way, but do not hamper it onto someone that आपको accept करना ही करना है. करेंगे लोग, टाइम लग जाता है, बट यही बात है कि आप इंडिविजुअली स्ट्रांग रहे और किसी नेगेटिविटी को आप अपने अंदर आने मत दे. उसी नेगेटिव चीजों को आप अगर दूर करोगे, आप उस नेगेटिविटी को फाइट करोगे इन ए प्रॉपर वे, ये नहीं कि आप लड़ झगड़ लो, लेकिन आप पढ़ो उसके बारे में, आप चीजों को देखो और अपने आप को इंडिविजुअली स्ट्रांग बनाओ, ताकि आपको कुछ भी चीजें अफेक्ट ना करें. एंड हैविंग दैट क्लोज नीट ऑफ सर्कल from the same peer group is also like very important.
Exactly.
And nowadays
Exactly. I was just going to say
good.
something that, on these lines only, that, some people, for their lifelong, they never come out in the fear as to why, whether the parents would accept them or, there will be acceptability or not. So that fear holds them back. So if you know a person that, who is gay or is a part of the community, wants to come out, but is not able to because of the certain societal norms that are there,
Right.
so how you can help that person, if you can, just throw some light on that.
Okay, internet is like very much there. There are like dating platforms like Blued. We have a lot of groups in social media. Connect to some good people and be very. It's not like you're just meeting some person randomly, but try to meet someone who is like at least like get a background research of the person. Maybe activist of the LGBTQ community from your area. You can go and talk to that person and discuss like how to take forward things. So individual strong support if you get from someone, and that really helps you up, because at the end of the day, like if you like जो चीज आपको डराता है,
right,
चीज को अगर आप fight back करोगे, if you fight back that thing, that will become a strongest opponent like thing in your life. So there's nothing to fear. Be yourself. It is yourself, like you have to counterpart your own life, so take it forward, I would say.
Right, Palash. Also, it's really high time to, just normalize things, because, already a lot of governments everywhere, this acceptance is happening around the world.
Right.
So why do we think that, this is the actual right time to normalize things? And, shouldn't look the other way around to this community, because there's always acha ye, acha wo, there's some things into the minds of the people still. So why do you think that it is very important to normalize it?
See, to your comment that government is doing a lot of things, I think there's a lot more to be done.
Yeah.
Sensitization would begin from your home to families. I think small initiatives like small initiatives in preaching require acknowledgement of these communities. And the biggest problem is in India is that we do things only in Hindi and English. लोकल लैंग्वेज में चीजें करनी पड़ेगी गवर्नमेंट को जिस तरीके से मतलब एटलीस्ट लोगों को चीजें जाके पहुंचे हो रही ये चीजें ऐसा नहीं है कि जैसे आपने बोला है कि देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स व्हिच हैव बीन इंप्रूविंग
Right.
if I relate back to 2009 to 2021 now I myself didn't know what is LGBTQ community as a whole but look at now the world like many people know now there are videos in YouTube there are a lot of
Right.
things coming up so I think normalize is something which would like eventually take time because this is one thing if just generation is changing the internet generation has come so eventually I think it will take time not much time also but yeah a day would come and things would be like oh, that one do not even have to say कि I am gay and I am in love with a boy I am lesbian I'm in love with a girl they'll be like oh वो लड़के से शादी कर रहे हैं and like it's all fine so
in fact a lot of movies have also come in so there is some sort of thing earlier I mean it was looked down upon but there is sensitization now in the public and they're trying to accept but anything which comes out it definitely takes time to settle so even if you're coming out to your parents coming out to anybody would take their time but with time things tend to happen so you should come out and shouldn't hold yourself back because if you hold yourself back you will not be true to your parents all your life and you would live somebody else's life completely.
So it's not only just your parents, but then, like I should not say, but there are a lot of people who even like under societal pressure, they get married and they're not happy.
Exactly.
And those marriages are never successful. Like it is like nowhere, like it's my personal opinion. I think what I feel is that you are just spoiling someone else's life. The person who comes to get married to you, that girl itself or that person itself, that person comes with a lot of hope because she's leaving one family and then coming to your life. So at least don't try to make things difficult for that person. Don't. So at least be true to not to yourself, but to her also, but to the person whom you're marrying, because marriage is an institution which is like very strong.
Right, and destroys two lives altogether completely. You'll never be true to that person, and that person, will live a completely fake life, and it would be a total drama chaos around her life or his life.
Right. There's one more thing that I would like to add, like about Bollywood, like the movies which you spoke about. I think Bollywood was one place when, if you look back, Bollywood did the maximum harm. Bollywood, sensitized the entire LGBTQ community in such a negative manner. If you look at the characters, like Bobby Darling and Master G and all, they were all comical characters that Bollywood gave us, and people were like, oh, ye to like words like chakka and all, they started using words like this, and people like कि जो भी मतलब LGBTQ community से होते हैं वो ऐसे ही होते हैं. So I think harm was done. अभी harm reduction के लिए
but then the times were completely way different. We've come decades after, and when there is acceptance, and if we see Bollywood में या फिर उस industry में सबसे ज़्यादा LGBTQ community के लोग हैं. So it also depends on the time to time. So earlier in those days, the times and the kind of cinema which was made was completely different. But with the times changing, there's more acceptance to everything and anything. So for me, in my opinion, it's all about the timings. It's the coming out day. If not today, it's not that it's the day, so you have to come out today. Whenever you feel comfortable, you should definitely come out, tell your story, make them understand well, and don't hold yourself back. And don't destroy somebody else's life by getting married to that person who you would not connect to throughout the life. So it destroys not only one person, individual's life, but the others as well. So
I think the best is to be like strong on yourself and connect to your peer individuals. This is one message that I want to leave. Talk to someone who would understand you. The best thing is this, if you feel that your family is, like not accepting you, not able to understand you from your close ones, but there would be someone or the other. The world is so large, there's so many people in around. Come and talk to me. Take my search me in Facebook or Instagram as Palash Borah. Come and talk to me. I'll help you out. So there will be so many people in and around.
Yeah, there's so many communities, and you have one
Yeah.
such community of yours, where it is for you people and by you. So it's a great community where you can come and talk and share your stories around. So I think that was it, Palash. Thank you so much for coming out and coming out
Thank you.
on also it's the coming out day. So I wish you all the best, and keep encouraging and doing the good work that you're doing, and because this is very important in this time of the century that we're living in.